Hi everyone. There is something what is very close to my heart, not a girl, but a story, which really makes me feel that I have made a significant growth. So it goes like back then in college, I just came there from a background wherein I haven't have that exposure to speak that language. And the day first day of my college went like today. Still, I do remember that day, not as a very good day as of mine, but one of the scariest and kind of embarrassing day of my life. What we used to have while reminding our previous thing that we used to get excited about while talking, but for me it is really being so scary that till date I have spoken about this a lot with my friends, colleagues and all, and I would like to tell you that story because that's what really gave me a boost in my thing. So it goes like, as I told, my background where I have completed all my schooling till my 12, so I opted for computer science and engineering into Prayagraj. So that was my first day of college. I went there. I wanted to, you know, present myself or kind of introduce myself in English, right? That was the time I thought, since I was a more than average scholar, I was confident enough to speak, to do whatever it takes, but not in this language. I thought, let's take a chance. You won't believe my heart were pondering. I was literally sweating, and my whole body was shaking so badly that even I cannot even speak my introduction in English. So that was the time I felt so bad. Even few of my friend who used to be friend of mine now, and back then after 2.5 years, they used to say, Anshuman, how you gonna do this engineering? I mean, they were giving kind of sympathy, but it really got stuck to me. But the point there I got that, Anshuman, you haven't have to go through with this, right? You'll have to do something about this. And now it's been 3.5, almost 4 years. I have completed my engineering. I'm doing full-time job. It's been a year. Have experience of working in US marketing. So moreover, I have realized one simple truth that really stuck with me, that if you are aware that what needs to be done, if you are aware what you should be doing with the time and progressing enough, then you can actually make a significant change, right? And in between I have done a lot of things, like started with randomly watching the videos that what I should do in order to better at something, then reading, writing and all those stuff what is being necessary. Along with that, I started creating content, learning in public, and it's been 2.5 years being recorded more than 500 podcasts on the scene, on the camera, and thousands of conversation behind the scenes. So that's where I got this confidence. And you won't believe the I remember that incident that I was sharing and a kind of presentation in front of full class. Even I had also headed the anchoring department there in back in college, wherein thousands of people are watching and giving the appreciation. So everything I have got just from there to here, right? And why I'm telling this to you, because today I wanted to tell you something, that how you can make a story out of that. So like, I could have been tell this thing very in a very monotonous basis, so probably you haven't been connected with me, right? But the point, if you can depict yourself in a good story, people used to remember stories only. So let's talk about that, how to be a better storyteller, or what are the practical ways to create or depict a story in front of you. So there is very simple technique. What do I follow? It is nothing but following 5P principle, wherein the first P stand for the people. So people, in a sense, in this story, because I don't believe into this theoretical knowledge unless until, so that's why I just gave you example, 2.5 minutes earlier. So while you are speaking something, firstly try to set an agenda and try to set the context. So here what did I do? I just told about the situation that I was in a class, I stood up, I did this, I did this. So here I actually kind of gave you a glimpse in your mind and set a context that people were surrounding with me. So the circumstances, the context is one. So P stands for people. Second P is nothing but the problem. So once you set the context, now what is the problem did you face? So my problem was because I couldn't speak. I stood up, as my heart were pounding, I was shaking, all those stuff were happening. That is, you actually show the seed of the whole story. You talked about the people where you are, you talked about the problem. Now, third, which is very important, is nothing but the process. What did you do to overcome that? Because in my case, I did, talk to a lot of people, went to the stages, take a podcast, go and talk to the communicational expert. So all those things are the processes, nothing but just process. So first P was people, second P was problem, third P was process, and fourth was paycheck. You might be wondering that in a movie what do we like? We like that a hero or the lead actor go through with a lot of struggles, and at last they used to win, they used to do wonders. That's what we expect from a movie to be happen, right? So here in form of a story too, you will have to tell the paycheck what was the reward. In my case, now I'm being publicly exposed, I'm very confident, I'm teaching people that how to communicate better, I'm helping along the way, getting recognition, people are recognizing me. All those stuff are just paycheck, right? So again, the problem first is people, problem, process, paycheck, and fifth, which is very important. I really realize this thing so often that people miss this point. That is nothing but point. Because sometimes what happens is that we do create a story, we do tell a lot about things about us, about all those stuff what we're going to talk about, and people perceive it in their own way. Doesn't make sense, right? So always at last be clear that what was the point to tell this story. Earlier I told you a story for 2 minutes, and lately I told you, you might be thinking something else, that what Anshuman gonna talk about. But if you remember that I shared a context, that by that example I gonna actually tell you, teach you that how you can also tell a story in a very good manner, right? So just summarizing this concept and all, that if you wanted to be the better at storytelling, wanted to actually make a memorable speaker, not only a speaker, eloquent speaker, follow this 5P principle, wherein first P stands for people, second P stands for problem, third P stands for process, paycheck, and last but not the least is point. What you wanted to depict, make sure to clear your point. So that's all for this video. I hope that you have learned that how to be better at storytelling. So if you have already gotten something, do make sure to subscribe, hit the subscribe button, because I never gonna to leave you this way. And also mention one thing, what did you really like and what you're gonna implement. And looking forward to connect again. Thank you so much for watching this video till the very end. Bye bye, have a great day ahead.